I'm here with Colin Moore. Colin, what's up?
What's up, man?
Thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Right off the bat, you seem like a regular, normal, nice, happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
your record, Leaving Home, is pretty dark, man. There's some seriously dark moments on it. I mean, not to say that there aren't happy moments on the record, but...
Yeah, well, I think there's some dark moments. I mean, I guess there are dark moments on everybody's record.
Yeah.
On a lot of musicians' albums anyways. I think the best songs come from those kind of times, actually.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm in a depressed mood or having a bad day, I think I write the best songs in those times.
Well, I guess it's cliche to say, but I mean, yeah, difficult times make for good music.
Exactly, exactly.
So let's talk about some of those times.
Shucks.
Well, let's talk about Broken English. It's the first song on the record, and you have a video for it.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting video. I mean, there's photos in it, but you don't really get to see what's on the photos.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. The photos are just supposed to be memories. They're supposed to represent, anyways, memories that are passing by really, really quickly. So we're not really supposed to zoom in. Didn't want to be focused on the memories themselves because those memories are in the lyrics. So it's basically just the idea of seeing the memories go by is the whole aspect of having those photos there and me stepping on them all the time.
Yeah. It's filmed in Montreal.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess you got lucky on the day because there's this weird fog that like...
It rained, man. It rained all day. We started off, but the first half an hour, everything was going fine, and then all of a sudden, it just started pissing rain, and it didn't stop the whole day. So I'm standing out there, and like all my clothes started getting wet. So you see, like I was wearing one shirt at the beginning of the video, and by the end, I'm wearing a white figure because I'm just soaked right through.
Oh, okay. So that was the reason.
That was the reason I just kept taking everything off. It wasn't like a strip tease or anything. It was just basically as we were going through, I was getting wetter and wetter, so I just kept changing clothes. My guitar was getting soaked. I was like more worried about her and my guitar than anything else. You know?
It's a great video. It's a great song. Tell us a little bit about the song itself. I mean, you mentioned memories.
Well, basically, it's just memories from high school.
A certain lady.
Certain lady from high school, certain ladies, but we'll just generalize and put it lady.
There's a lot of ladies on this record.
Yeah, there's a lot of ladies, a lot of different ladies on this record, but Ryan helps. The guy who produced it and recorded it and played guitar with me, he wrote some of the songs as well, so I'm not taking all the credit for the lady problems. He's got some of us himself. But yeah, definitely. Broken English is basically just high school memories. I wrote the song because I used to sit in this park down the street from my house all the time and just play guitar there and hang out with a buddy of mine's buddy of mine's father who committed suicide later on. He overdosed on drugs, but very, very, very good guitar player. I used to learn from him under a tree in a park, and that's basically where the song came from. And I just wrote memories about, just kind of reminded me of high school, you know?
Now, I have to ask, like, have you ever had a situation where someone's maybe called you up and been like, are you singing about me on a song?
It happens all the time.
Yeah, and is it bad or is it good?
I have an ex-girlfriend who seems to think that every song's about her. Like I dated her for 7 years, and it's been 6 or 7 years since I've seen this girl. And,
Holy conceited.
And she still thinks that this song's about her. I'm like, that song's about me, isn't it? And I'm like, no, you got one song. That's all you get. You know, like everybody gets one song. That's all they're gonna get.
Is that a rule? Is that a songwriter rule? Like one song per girl?
If I was gonna write a song, yeah, I wouldn't never write more than one song about a girl, about a specific girl. They get one song, and that's all they get, and then I move on to something else.
Friends of Mine. I love that tune. It's a great drinking song.
That's the whole point. You know,
it's about working, having a shitty job,
and then going to the bar
whiskey and Jameson.
Exactly.
Talk about how important, I guess, going to the bar with friends is, camaraderie and that side of stuff.
It's very important, actually. It's a great way to let go and get some steam off your shoulders. You can always talk to your friends at the bar and get loaded. And if you need to bitch about somebody or you need to complain about something, you can always talk to your friends at the bar and do it. And everyone around is usually drunk and agreeing with you anyways, you know? Yeah. Except there's always one odd guy who's like, I don't agree with you. You know what I mean? But that's because he's been drinking way longer than I have.
Yeah,
you know?
Always been at the bar.
But most of the time, it's pretty fun going to the bar with friends. It's just good time to relax and hang out. We're on tour most of the time, so when we get back, I like to go out and have drinks with the friends and hang out at the bar.
Well, I mean, you sort of really captured that vibe of like, yeah, I'm just hanging out with friends, drinking. I'm having a shitty day, but now it's better because I'm drunk.
Yeah, that's why we also got a friend of ours to do piano on that track, and I think he added the good kind of saloon piano licks in there that gives it that kind of feeling, you know. So
yeah, it's got a bit of like a Rolling Stones thing, so at least towards the
piano
end.
licks in the background.
Yeah,
really kind of gives it that kind of saloon bar sound kind of thing, you know.
Well, I mean, talk about the rest of the band because I mean, you're a singer-songwriter, but there's tons of instruments on the record, and I mean, how do you pull this off live?
Well, live. Basically, when we do a lot of touring, we don't pull it off live. That's basically how we do it.
You're really selling yourself here.
We do a lot of touring in Europe and stuff. It's just me and Ryan.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I don't know where, but I'm finished. It's just me and Ryan most of the time. So when we get to come home and we get to play with the band, it's basically just a 4-piece. Ryan does all the solos, and on the record itself, I mean, Ryan plays a lot of the instruments. He plays the banjo, plays a little bit of mandolin, he plays slide guitar, steel whistle. He does all kinds of different stuff, this guy. So he's really a one-man band, Ryan, and by himself, so having him with me all the time, he can play anything. So if we needed to just play a banjo or something, he can just play the banjo and throw it on up there. But most of the time, it's just a 4-piece band. Keep it simple.
And how did you hook up with these dudes?
Well, Ryan's always with me on tour. I've known him since high school. The guys who play on the record, Rich and Blue, aren't playing with me anymore because they have newborn children and just other responsibilities.
Life moves on.
Exactly. But now I got, Vincent Peake plays with me, the old groovy aardvark bass player, and plays with the Grimskunk as well, so he's a great bass player to have.
Nice.
And Dusty's not here right now, but Dusty Cadillac is a good drummer that we've known for a long time. He's a good buddy of mine from Ryan's in high school, so he's been playing drums for us now, and he's pretty tight. I like it.
Disease. Tell me about that song. That song, I sort of thought there was a bit of a weird, not weird, but like a David Gray, a White Ladder sort of vibe.
Yeah, what's weird about that song, I have heard that album.
It's a good album.
It's a great album.
Yeah.
The difficult thing about that song is that Disease is such an old song. Like, I wrote that song in my apartment like maybe 11 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really, really old song. And it was hard to recreate the first original demo I did, because I did it on a Fostex, like a little 8-track in my living room, and then I handed that track over to Ryan, and he kind of added this weird kind of Streets of Philadelphia keyboard sound in the background that kind of give it that really drunken vibe.
Yeah,
you know? And that's basically what the song's about. I mean, friends of mine, like about going to the bar and drinking with your friends. Disease is about just going to the bar and drinking because you're having a bad day, basically just because you're having a bad time.
Yeah.
And the bar is good for when they're having a bad time or you're having a good time. It's good for both of those things. But basically, that's what that song's about.
How do you pull off, if you are going to the bar a lot, how do you pull off, you came in this morning and you had to perform.
Yeah.
How do you balance those two things?
Well, it usually doesn't, I think it's my tolerance is kind of building up to the point where because every show I'm playing, and if you're doing 25 shows in 30 days and you're drinking pretty much every night, there's always free beer to be given out. And I like to have a couple of beers before I go on stage, so I'm kind of used to it, kind of gotten used to it now.
Do you have a rule where you're like, okay, like 3 bears?
Nah, before I don't really have any rules like that.
You're just chugging.
I don't have any rules like that. I usually have enough time to at least knock 3 or 4 back before I go on stage, and then I usually have 1 or 2 on stage, and by the time I get off, and then I just have a good time the rest of the night. I don't get loaded every night.
Yeah.
It's hard to. The tolerance I've built up, it's expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because I've talked to a lot of musicians, and you get the odd person that like has to have a beer before they go on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
But you get those people too that are also like they sort of are like, they get to that point where they're like, okay, like I got to get out of that sort of rut. But
I kind of need to have a beer before I go on. I like the beer
of choice. Beer of choice.
Beer of choice in Toronto.
Sure.
In Toronto, people are gonna boo me when I say steam whistle. I know it, but
I'll
but
high
actually,
five you on that. I'll high five you on steam whistle.
when I come to Toronto, me and Ryan like the steam whistle. To be honest with you,
Skunky.
Whenever we go anywhere else, we like to try the beers from different towns.
Yeah.
So like when we were in Germany, Ryan stuffed his bag in Germany with 12 different beers from all over the place, and he was overweight in his baggage on the way back to the airplane. We had to take all of his equipment out of his bag and put it in a different bag because he was overweight on the plane. But yeah, I like to try the beers from every different town. So here we'll probably use steam whistle.
Do you guys try to get out, when you go to like different places? Because,
We try our best. Whenever we don't have much spare time. So it's usually during the daytimes we have to ourselves, and we try to go around looking and take pictures. And like we went around Berlin, went and checked out the American sector. And I was doing an interview or a photo shoot in England, and Ryan took off to go see Abbey Road without me. So I'm still bugging him for that. This has been a long time. I'm still ragging on him.
ExploreMusic wears English Laundry apparel.